Hi there and welcome to lesson number 6. So today, two more super important chords, the C major chord and the E major chord. The E major chord I don't worry about at all. You already know how to play the E minor. With the E major, you just add one more finger to the E minor and then you're good to go. The C major chord, though, is a little bit more challenging, but not too complicated. The challenge with the C major is really it spans over 3 frets. And don't worry, I'm going to bring you really close as usual and I'll show you exactly what you need to do. Just one word up front, you need to practice that chord. And sometimes you find online references where people say, oh, is there a workaround to the C major chord? I struggle with that chord. First of all, I don't want you to get discouraged. I want you to ignore these questions and the potential solutions. You need to learn that chord. There is no workaround. It's one of the most important chords when you play guitar. It looks much more complicated than it is. Again, we'll do it slowly together. We have some really good exercises to get you used playing that chord. And I guarantee you in a couple weeks from now, if you stick to your practicing routine, it won't be something that will keep you up at night. Okay, so let's get started, dive right in. I'm going to bring you in very close and then we get started with the 2 chords and some exercises. So let's dive right in and tackle the C major chord first. For that chord, you need 3 fingers, index finger, middle finger and ring finger. You put the index finger in the 1st fret on the 2nd string. You put the middle finger in the 2nd fret on the 3rd string from the top. And you put the ring finger in the 3rd fret, 2nd string from the top, the A string. I'm going to just change the angle for a second a little bit. So this is how you place your fingers for the C major chord, one of the most important chords that you need to learn when you play guitar because it's in so many songs. For this chord, you strum all the strings except for that low E string here, okay? So you start with the A string downward and that gives you the C major chord. So now, with regard to the E major chord, the good news is you will learn that within seconds because you already know how to learn the E minor chord. Now, it's not always the case that, the minor chords are almost the same like the major chords in terms of finger position, but for the E major and E minor chord, that's actually the fact right here. So, for the E major chord, put your index finger in the 1st fret, the 3rd string from the bottom, which is your G string. Put your middle finger in the 2nd fret, 2nd string from the top, which is the A string, and your ring finger 1 string underneath, 2nd fret, 3rd string from the top, the D string. Again, I'm going to change my angle here a little bit so you should see exactly. I'm not doing anything with the pinky here, just in case you wonder. So that's the E major chord. Very easy. You play all the strings. And remember the E minor chord? The E minor chord is almost the same, except you don't use your index finger, right? So let me put that back on. E major chord, all the strings. String by string. Perfect. So let's do a few exercises together and I'm pretty much gonna stick with the worksheet. So it's probably advisable that you just print the worksheet out as you try to play along with me. Let's start with the first exercise, which is 4 times E major, then 4 times C major, back to 4 times E major, back to 4 times C major. And then when you play these exercises, it's what I would like you to do that a few more times in a loop, right? So like for a minute or so. And I know in the beginning that's very, very difficult because your fingers hurt. But you know, as you should now slowly get a little bit stronger, get a little bit more muscle in your fingers, more flexibility too. So usually in the exercises, I say something, I spell out what I need you to do, and then I say, and start over, right? So do these things a couple of times, obviously not to the extent where your fingers hurt too much. But let's start with the first exercise here. We do it very slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If that's too hard for now, then I would suggest practice just the chord change between E and C, which is pretty much what we did. But what you can do in the beginning, if that seems to be a little bit too hard for now, just do something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. I know the C major chord is a little bit of a stretch now because it goes over 3 frets. So I understand it will take a little longer for you to really get that into your fingers. Let's continue with exercise number 2. Now we're going to combine some of the chords we learned previously. Let's start with the D major into C major into G major. 1, 2, 3, 4. And over. D, C, G. Very good. These exercises have a system. The chord changes you learned right now will help you to learn our next couple of songs. So there's a system to it. Exercise number 3. G major into C major into D major. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. G, C, D. Exercise number 5. Now E minor into D major, into A major, into G major, into C major, into A major. A lot of chords, actually all the chords we learned so far combined with each other. It's a very good exercise. We play that sequence one time. Let's start with the E minor. Just follow along with the worksheet and try to play along with me. E minor. D major. A major. G major. C major. A major. To be very clear, this might have been too fast for you right now, but it is a tempo I want you to get to. So you need to practice to get there. I totally understand that you might be at this point just not at the level yet, but that's what your homework is for. That's why you need to continue to practice on a daily basis. I do understand your fingers hurt. I do understand that the chord changes that we do in the exercises might be a little bit too fast, but you know, I want to get you to that level where you can play these things fluently, for the lack of the better term. Okay? I'll see you in the next lesson. Much more to come. Good job so far. See you then. Bye-bye.